All right, today we're gonna build a better vocabulary for describing goodness. We're moving beyond those simple, kind of overused words like nice to explore a set of benign words. Words that capture kindness, fairness, and generosity with way more precision.
Seriously, think about it. When you want to describe someone you really admire, what words pop into your head? For most of us, we reach for nice, kind, or just good. And hey, they work, sure. But they're kind of like using a single crayon when you have a whole box of colors. They just don't capture all the specific, wonderful shades of a person's character.
So here's the game plan. We're going to give you a new toolkit, 20 precise and powerful words to add to your vocabulary. It's time to move beyond nice and start describing those admirable qualities with the clarity they really deserve.
Ready?
Let's get started. Okay, first up, we're going to tackle a group of words that all touch on generosity in its different forms. This is all about the spirit of giving, whether that's giving away wealth, offering forgiveness, or even being generous with praise.
Here are the 5 heavy hitters we'll unpack in this section: Largess, Lavish, Philanthropic, Munificent, and Magnanimous. Let's break them down. First up, we've got largesse. This is a fantastic word for generosity and giving gifts or money, especially when it comes from someone with high status. You could say something like, the tech billionaire's largesse funded the entire new science museum. Next is lavish, which means sumptuously rich or elaborate. Now, you can throw a lavish party, for sure, but you can also be lavish with your praise. So you see, it's not just about money, it's about abundance. And finally, philanthropic, which you might already know. It's all about the desire to promote the welfare of others, usually through big donations. For example, her philanthropic efforts completely transform the community.
Okay, now for a really useful distinction. Magnanimous versus munificent. They both mean generous, but they operate in totally different worlds. Munificent is about being generous with money or stuff, usually on a pretty grand scale. Think of a munificent benefactor who pays for a student's entire college tuition. Magnanimous, on the other hand, is about generosity of spirit. It's about being forgiving and noble, especially to a rival or someone who has less power than you. You know, a magnanimous winner is one who graciously congratulates their opponent. So the key takeaway is this: munificent is about money, magnanimous is about character.
All right, moving on from generosity, our next set of words really gets to the core of a person. We're talking about their integrity, their principles, and their judgment.
The words on deck for this section are probity, impeccable, judicious, laudable, and meritorious. Each one describes a slightly different facet of what it means to have a strong, admirable character.
Okay, let's define these. Probity. This is a fantastic, really powerful word for complete and total honesty and integrity. It's a bit formal, so you might hear it in a sentence like, the investigation confirmed the financial controller's absolute probity. Then there's impeccable, which just means faultless or perfect. Someone can have impeccable taste in music, or their work can be of an impeccable standard. And judicious means showing good judgment. A judicious decision to just wait for more information can prevent a really costly mistake.
Here's another great pair to get straight. Both laudable and meritorious means something is worthy of praise. But there's a really important difference. A laudable act is praiseworthy. That's it. For example, the team's effort, even though they lost, was laudable. But a meritorious act is so excellent that it actually deserves a reward or some kind of formal recognition. A firefighter receiving a medal for meritorious service is a perfect example. So, if you want to boil it down, one is praiseworthy, the other is reward-worthy.
Our third bucket of words explores a person's temperament, their inner resilience, and how they carry themselves through the world.
So, we'll be looking at hardy, intrepid, phlegmatic, ingenuous, and felicitous. This is a really interesting mix of qualities, from toughness all the way to innocence.
A hardy person, just like a hardy plant, is robust and can endure really tough conditions. You might say the early settlers were a truly hardy group. An intrepid person is fearless and adventurous. Think of an intrepid journalist reporting from a war zone. And someone who is phlegmatic, well, they're impressively calm and composed, especially when they're under pressure. Despite all the chaos, the captain remained completely phlegmatic. Now for our last two in this section. Felicitous describes something that is just perfectly chosen for the moment. A felicitous turn of phrase in a speech that just perfectly captures the mood of the room. It's all about being apt and well-suited. Then we have ingenuous, which describes someone who is innocent and unsuspecting, almost like a child. Now, it can imply a little bit of naivety, sure, but it often points to a really refreshing sincerity.
Her ingenuous question got right to the heart of the matter.
For our final section, we have a fun collection of what I'm calling the interesting outliers. These are really valuable words that don't fit neatly into our theme of benign character, but they're just too useful to leave out. One of them even serves as a perfect contrast.
Let's start with gratuitous. Now, this word is actually the opposite of our theme. It means uncalled for or lacking any good reason. It's a negative word used to describe something excessive and totally unnecessary, like gratuitous insults in an argument. Sometimes understanding what isn't benign helps us appreciate what is.
And check this out. This really shows the power of contrast. A laudable action, something we learned earlier, like donating to charity anonymously, is praiseworthy. A gratuitous comment is the exact opposite. It's an unnecessary, cruel remark that serves absolutely no purpose. Putting them side by side like this makes the meaning of both words crystal clear, doesn't it?
And here are our final few, a truly mixed bag. Lenient means merciful or tolerant, like a lenient teacher who gives you an extension on a paper. Then we have Libertarian, which is a political philosophy centered on liberty. A little different, right? Malleable means easily influenced or shaped. This can describe a person or a material like clay. And finally, just for fun, we have Potable, which simply means safe to drink. A very practical, if totally unrelated word to have in your back pocket.
So, to do a super quick recap, we've organized these 20 words into 4 key groups. Words describing the generous spirit, those about character and judgment, words for strength and demeanor, and finally, our fun group of interesting outliers. Thinking of them in these categories can make them a whole lot easier to remember.
And that's our list. But remember, the real learning, the part where it sticks, happens when you actually start using these words. So my challenge to you is this. Which of these words will you try to use today? Maybe you'll notice someone's probity, or maybe you'll have a chance to make a felicitous comment. Give it a shot. Thanks for joining me.